Hey everyone, it's Wolfgang. I wanted to talk to you today about getting a wealth windfall when you sell your business. When you're ready to sell, you're faced with the choice of who to sell to. And there are a bunch of choices, and I'm going to go over several of them here. I've seen this up close, and there are certain things you need to be aware of because your objective after contributing a lot of years and a lot of effort into your business, you deserve to get the wealth out of it when you sell. So what are some options when you are looking for a buyer to buy your business? Biz, buy, sell, and other online sites. That's one option. Generally, you're going to negotiate one-on-one with a buyer, typically another individual, not a team of people. Generally, you're going to get paid at the time of sale and cash out. As to what the business is worth, it's a negotiation. It's going to depend on the buyer's ability to get the most out of your enterprise. If they're experienced, they can probably see the value a little bit differently than someone who's buying it from you who is new. So it might be a good idea to try to sell to an experienced person if possible. Okay, another option, private equity. Private equity, not all of them, but a lot of them are sharks. What they would like to be able to do is buy low, kick out the owner, and then sell high. And usually what they're doing is they're buying one business to create a foundation and then building and then acquiring other businesses similar to that one in what is called a roll-up. What they generally will do, as an example, they might try to roll up plumbers in a geographic area, established plumbing companies that have a good business. So they will attempt to buy you out, kick you out, and then sell high. At the time you're negotiating with them, you're negotiating not one-on-one, you're negotiating with a team of professional buyers. The private equity people they're experts at doing this. They can seek to underpay. Generally what can happen is they will do what's called a quality of earnings assessment on your business. They will look into the business, try to find chinks in your armor. You may have a great business, solid revenues for a period of time and great profits, but their objective can be to come in and find problems with your earnings. The quality of earnings assessment can be used to negotiate with you so that you don't collect full price at the sale. And remember, we're trying to get a wealth windfall. We're trying to get out of the business what we put into it. The biz buy sell situation, maybe you're not going to get as much as you could at the time of sale, but you're going to collect at the time the business sells. Private equity, not so much. What can happen with a private equity buyer is they can ask you to enter into an agreement whereby you agree to certain performance metrics that if you don't meet them, they have the right, they have verbiage in their contract that allows them to renegotiate your contract and possibly kick you out of the business and then keep it for themselves and sell later. That does happen. So in general, you won't collect full price at the time of sale with private equity. So why would you want to work with them? I'm not sure. I probably would not recommend it unless you find an really ethical private equity firm. I'm sure they're out there, but generally the reputation, they're sort of professional buyers. They tend to be sharks and they look for ways to buy low. So another option is there are people out there who they're not quite private equity, but they're like private equity. Generally, I call this the other buyer because they're an established group of people, but they're not necessarily professional sharks like private equity is. Sometimes what these folks will do is they will sell training for business owners to, improve your business. And each course generally will have an upsell in the course to keep you engaged with them, to keep you paying for their courses. They will often have a series of courses that are very expensive, held out to you as improving your business. And then at some point, they may offer to move your operations inside of their company. And what happens generally is you can lose majority control over your own business. If they can entice you that we can improve your profitability, we can grow your business, all you have to do is let us assume operations, bring your operations inside our house, not yours. You lose majority control. And what is missing? What's missing is the same as number 2. You won't collect full price at the time of sale. So basically what these guys do, and there's several of them out there who do this, they will promise that they will help you improve the way your business operates as long as you give up majority control or final decision making. And so if you get to the point where you're interacting with this type of buyer and you manage to maintain majority control, that's a good idea, because if something goes south and they're not able to deliver on their ability to grow your business the way they promised, if you keep majority control, you can get out, you can bail out of it. I've been studying this, and there are companies online that have been persuaded by this other type of buyer, and given up control, and they lost their business. There's one case I can think of that the sellers agreed to do this, moved their operations inside their business, and was so mistreated he destroyed his own business because he could not get out of it. He had already given up majority control over his business, and he basically destroyed his company to prevent this predator from taking what he had. He still had the skills and he needed to restart, and that's a very sad story. So the bottom line is, do not lose majority control if you're working with this buyer or this type of buyer. With this type of buyer, they're not going to ask you to give up control and sort of try to take your business away from you on the cheap. You're going to get paid at the time of sale, or you'll work something out very close to that. These two types of buyers, a little bit predatory, they can be, so you want to be careful. And compare those to Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway will provide a wealth windfall at the time of sale, just like this situation does. This is a wealth windfall. It may not be top dollar, but you're going to get paid generally, or you'll have very, very favorable payment terms, because when you're dealing with another individual, they're not going to try to be dishonest or unethical or edgy. Generally, they're going to take care of you, even if it's over some period of time. For example, you may enter an agreement where you remain operating in the business for a year to give them time to pay you in full. And you can have a stipulation that says if you're unable to follow through with the purchase, you have the right to take majority control back and get out of it. So what Berkshire does is they will buy you out and give you the wealth windfall you deserve. And there are other companies besides Berkshire that do that. This is just a well-known one. And you can stay inside the business and continue to operate, because a lot of these companies, this type of buyer, they do not want to get their hands dirty with operations. They're not really operators. They like to invest, and they have a holding company, and they have operating businesses that they oversee and they provide financing for and some other services. But generally, unlike these guys, they're not operators. So if you have a choice, 1 or 4 or something like Berkshire, maybe not Berkshire, it depends on how big your company is, as the buyer, you're really sort of taking a chance with these two guys. So the bottom line, get full payment at time of sale or something along those lines. Like Berkshire will do that with an individual buyer. They may ask you to defer full payment and you continue to operate in the business for a year or so. Partnerships almost always fail. When private equity or this other type of buyer asks you to cooperate with them to build your business, that's a partnership in effect, because you're still in the business. In both of these cases, you're still involved, and there's an assumption that they're going to be cooperative and ethical, and they may not be. So keeping in mind that partnerships usually always fail, you're really taking some risk here with those two choices, the private equity or this other buyer. The most important thing is never give up majority control unless you're cashed out. And I would target 75%. If you can collect 75% of the value of your business when you sell, you're in pretty decent shape. So the problem with these two types of buyers is they're good at enticing people that they have something, a secret sauce that will allow them to grow the person's business and make it more valuable. It doesn't always work out. And in the meantime, you're in a partnership situation with them. Partnerships rarely work out. In some cases, some rare cases they do, but generally they don't. The thing about a business is if there's one decision maker at the top, then it removes all ambiguity from the business as to how the business should move forward. If there's any sort of situation in the business where things are not going well, if you've got a committee there, like partners, trying to figure out how to solve the problem where everyone's on equal footing, you don't want to get into that situation. I personally know people where that's happened. A group of 4 people who were sort of equal partners, and they ended up in court suing each other, relationships destroyed. So you want to never give up majority control unless you're cashed out. I would target at least 75%. And if none of this can work out for you, one option is to sell to employees. one thing you can set up is you can agree to work in the business for 6 months to a year or whatever you can negotiate, and continue to oversee the business while the business is operating, and they're able to collect the money to pay you and cash you out. Because we want to get the wealth windfall when we sell. We don't want to take a chance on partnering with these folks because unlike these two situations or these three situations, it's very difficult to be sure you're ever going to get paid. And in a lot of cases, you end up being very unhappy with the outcome. One of the things that comes into this is when someone approaches you to go to cooperate with them, either private equity or the other buyer, how do you know if you're going to get along with those people? Unless you grew up with them, unless they're family members or friends you've known a long time, there's really no way in a short period of time to know if these guys are going to be agreeable. This is a professional buyer. They seek, they're capitalists, and we all are, but they're a little bit aggressive about, on the buy side, buying low, kicking out the owner, and then selling high. So selling to the employees is a good option. It's a good alternative. And however you do this, one, four, or this option, the bottom line is you want to get paid when you sell the business. How many years have you put into it? How much money, how much risk did you take to get it to the point where it's sellable? What's it really worth? And one other caution. These guys, these two types of buyers, private equity and the other buyer, in terms of their valuation for your business, you really want to get second opinions. If you do end up working with one of these two types of buyers and they come forward with a valuation, get third opinions on the valuation, hire a professional to value the business, and make sure they're in a different town and they have nothing to do with, and they don't know these people, and try to get a good sense of what your business is valued at. So, and one last warning, this is something a lot of people don't know about selling a business. If you have a standalone business making, $3 or $4 or $5 million a year, a plumbing business or an HVAC company, and you're making, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in profit a year, the valuation is sort of at a low level. If you could combine your business with other similar businesses, large buyers like to buy a group of businesses. That's what the roll-up is. The roll-up is that idea. It's basically taking a lot of similar businesses. The multiple on your earnings is higher if you're a standalone company and you get together with a bunch of other similar businesses. You can get paid a higher price. So what these guys will try to do is they will try to sell you on that. We're going to bring you into our situation. We're going to collect up a bunch of similar businesses, and that will raise your valuation. Okay, so be careful because partnerships usually fail. Just eyes wide open. It can work out. It does work out sometimes. I don't want to paint this as a completely dark picture. It's just that you have to be mindful of the fact that some of these operators do not have your best interest at heart. And if you think about it, a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush. Maybe you don't make as much in these situations, biz buy sell or selling to employees, but you're getting paid. You're at least getting paid for your business, all that effort, all that time you put into it. So I hope this helps. If you have a business and you're selling it, I've seen this in my own life with people I know, with stuff that I've been through when I've sold assets. You've got to protect yourself and make sure the valuation you're being told is accurate. Some business owners are not sophisticated enough, and that's why I recommended going to an outside third party, maybe two or three of them, and get a valuation, a professional valuation on your business, and then figure out, do I want to risk that on partnering with these people I don't know that well? I don't know if they're fair and ethical. They sound like they are. I've seen them, around, but who knows, right? Me personally, I have a family member who did it this way. He did quite well. An individual buyer came to him and bought his trades business, and he made out well. It was a negotiation, but he got paid what it was worth. There was some time involved in the negotiation, but compared to taking a risk with partnering with these folks, that might be a good answer. So if you have any questions about this, post in the comments. The bottom line is when you're ready to sell, you have got to get paid for all the success you've had in the business. You've got to get a wealth windfall. You deserve it, and you definitely deserve to not have it taken away from you by sleight of hand. So I hope that helps, and I want to thank you all for watching, and have a great day.